All right, Congressman, welcome. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time during what is a very busy, even though many of us are at home, and maybe you're not in the district or together with your staff, it doesn't mean that we're less busy. So thank you for giving us that time.
You bet. Happy to be with you. And the logo looks good. And I like the new image for the Conway Chamber. It's kind of a zoomy image. I like it.
Yeah, you know, we're at an undisclosed and secure location in the heart of Conway, and we'll leave it at that.
That's great.
Well,
Good to be with
you. You know, this is a little bit of a different disaster. We definitely have the health front, and those people are obviously at the top of mind for everyone. But a lot of attention, our organization has been focused on small business, and Congress responded in a big way with some programs, and you know, we're trying to help small businesses navigate those. As a banker, you've got special insight, and as a business person, you've got special insight. And so maybe tell us from your perspective what's going on there.
Yeah, well, thanks again. It's great to be with the chamber and our business community in Conway, and you guys do such a great job advocating for all the businesses and growth in Conway. This is a weird time. You know, this is an unprecedented situation to have a global pandemic of a health concern sweep the United States and then leave all of us concerned about our healthcare workers, our families, and yet at the same time have this devastating impact quickly on our businesses. So it's tough and it's been very challenging. I want to thank Asa Hutchinson for doing a great job as our governor, particularly in marshaling the resources and getting us ready for the healthcare response. And Nate Smith, our Director of Public Health, is doing a great job. And we may well have some good results coming up in the next few days because so many Arkansans have taken the challenge to work from home, to use good hygiene and to practice social distancing, and it's paying off. And I hope our state looks better than some of our neighbors around the country. But the economic impact of this is tough. So the government, in an unprecedented way, set aside funding to try to keep families afloat with some extra cash in the form of a tax rebate. That's the $1,200 per adult and $500 per dependent child. Just being contingent on having a legal Social Security number in order to get that payment. Increase the unemployment insurance benefit and extend it to July 31st for those who have no choice but to be laid off or furloughed, which is tough. But then the preference is to try to get help from the Small Business Administration in funding, liquidity funding, so that maybe fewer people end up on the unemployment rolls. And the SBA has two basic ways of doing that. One is the appropriated funds for disaster loan. And this is something that we're used to from the SBA after a natural disaster, whether it's a hurricane or a tornado, they have a disaster loan program. You apply directly with the SBA. It's up to $2 million. It's an online application, and they can give you a advance on that people have read about, the emergency disaster loan advance, which is up to $10,000 in 3 days. And some people a month ago, when we first authorized that, have applied for that loan and trying to use it, particularly getting that $10,000 advance. Now this Paycheck Protection Plan that kicked off Friday, so it's only been in business Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. Nearly $30 billion has been committed with several thousand banks participating, 175,000 loans. And those loans have averaged right around $300,000 is the typical loan that's been committed around the country. If you got one of those emergency loans, that $10,000 EIDL advance loan, you can still apply for a PPP loan and you just net that out against it. It's not any more complicated than that. I've seen some emails going around and text messages suggesting you can't apply for both. That's not true, never was true, but some people were confused about it. And some people, the disaster loan works great for them. They have time to do it. They have a plan to do it, and it may be perfect for their business. But the PPP loan, the Paycheck Protection Loan, is delivered through the banks. It's 100% government guaranteed. It has a 1% interest rate. There's no fee. It's delivered through the banking system. And the banks learned about it about 10 days ago, philosophically. And they got 2 versions of documents last week, one on Tuesday, and then the correct version on Friday. So on Friday last week is when they really had the guidance that gave them the basic ability to make this loan. The purpose of the loan, 8 weeks of payroll and some overhead like rent, utilities, and insurance premiums, things like that. And if a business borrows that money and uses 75% of the proceeds for paycheck protection, that is keeping their staff paid, then they can have that converted to a grant. It's forgiven and paid off. The bank is paid off directly by the SBA. So that's the big picture. There's a lot of challenges with standing up a $350 billion program in 3 days, but nationwide, it's working pretty well. We've got system problems. We have questions at the banks. We have questions from borrowers, and I'll do the best I can, Jamie, to help sort through some of those this afternoon. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've asked people, I think people understood how our workforce centers were overwhelmed a week or more ago with people making workforce claims. And
Yep.
so, you know, we're saying, hey, you may have to have that same level of patience as a small business, and you're working with your local lender because they're also overwhelmed with just the sheer volume of this response. But there is help at the end of the process. Just to close us out, you know, put yourself back in the shoes of a small business person, and let's say someone is still evaluating whether or not they should participate in one or both of these programs. How should they make that decision?
Right. Well, on the Paycheck Protection Program, if you think you can hold your employees together, keep your business mission organized where you've got work for them to do or consider doing over the next 8 weeks while you're waiting for revenue to come back, customers to come back, then that's what you might consider this program for. And to go to your bank, you need that payroll that's gross wages, insurance and benefits, the rent, or if you have a fixed payment like a mortgage payment on a building that you occupy, and your utilities. Have that together in a spreadsheet. Have a source for the payroll, meaning if you got ADP or if you use a payroll vendor, have that as a documentary source. There's no additional collateral. There's no personal guarantee. It's a 2-page application to which you would attach that, and you're going to answer some questions, providing the bank information about why you're seeking the loan. And the bank's underwriting is to take your representations, your certificate as a borrower, and that payroll information, and then seek the guarantee from the SBA. I'd say one of the biggest challenges over the last 3 days, Jamie, has been the uptime in the SBA computer system, loading that guarantee, submitting that document to get the guarantee number back from the SBA. That's delayed some of our bankers. And then, of course, there's confusion on definitions, and there are webinars for that. We're doing one with the Little Rock Chamber tomorrow. If you want to try to do a webinar for Conway Chamber on PPP, we can get, a banker, we can get SBA folks on that with you. But that's the kind of material I would prepare to go see my banker. That's what I've been hearing is the computer issue and then some definitional issues. But a lot of banks in this state are rising to the occasion, doing a great job meeting with customers. I just hung up with a bank CEO who doesn't live in Conway, but he has locations in Conway, and they've approved 1,000 loans in the last 3 days for small business people. So our bankers are out there hustling, trying to get this done for our businesses.
Well, at work, we've said it's a $2 trillion package. We'd like to see $1 trillion of it come to Central Arkansas. We may fall a little short, but that's okay. Yeah, if people will just, bring all of your organizational paperwork and some patience to the process, it'll pay off. So, Congressman, thank you for giving us the time. You answered several of the questions that were sent in advance, so that was spot on. And
If
so,
anybody has other questions, just have them email us at hill.house.gov, and we'll try to get them fact sheets and material that'll help them sort through it.
absolutely. Thank you,
You bet.
sir, and you have a good day.